Alright folks, today's the day that you've all been waiting for. I'm pretty sure at least most of you have had to go through all the cultural stuff. I guess mostly cultural stuff. But today we're going to be going on to Akihabara, and it's actually going to be the entire day trip there. So I'm going to visit a lot of card shops, a lot of general weeb shit that I've always wanted to check out. And yeah, so this is going to be, I'm probably going to make this a video of its own because I feel like it should be. So I'm going to try to film a lot. Not sure how much I'm going to actually talk because like I generally don't like filming outside. I don't actually talk that much because it just seems kind of inappropriate here in Japan. But yeah, it's kind of more acceptable in Europe. But yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, we're going to be heading off to Akihabara in just a bit. We actually live really close. It's only like a, I don't know, 15-minute walk from our hotel to Akihabara. But yeah, so that's going to be today's destination, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, so here we're actually in the Sega building. So here are some vending machines. There was a Grand Blue Fantasy one. Here's some posters in one of the Sega arcade buildings. And here is a huge Evangelion, kind of like a poster, but it's hard to really put it that way. And then there's Card Kingdom you see for a little bit. It was still closed at that time. Now we're in Kaikan, which is a huge 9-story building. It's quite recently built, and they have a lot of stores inside. So there's like figure shops like this. And earlier you saw the C-Labo, which is a card shop. And there's going to be a lot of card shops. There's a little Deku figure over there, and then I just kind of zoom into like the figures that I actually like have interest in and stuff like that. So like these ones as well. I bought this for like 4,000. And then here's some Saber, and you know, all kinds of little Fate stuff. There's some Gunpla as well. And then here is this awesome Shimon figure. I didn't buy this one. And then there's a Freya there, there's a Yoko there as well. And yeah, so in the end of all these figures, I did buy this Freya one, but I bought it from a different shop. And here's all the Gashapons. I do go through one a bit later, so you'll be seeing that pretty soon in this video. There's a little Love Life Sunshine stuff, and then here we're entering one of the main card shops in Kaikan, and so this is just a lot of like loose booster packs and whatnot sitting around. There's a lot of Magic, Vanguard, Yu-Gi-Oh! And then there's obviously a lot of the card games that are exclusive to them as well. There's also a lot of Vice, some Fire Emblem Cypher, and then there's a new Grand Blue Fantasy TCG as well, and Battle Spirits and whatnot. So there's a lot of different card games, and it was really nice to see all that. So here's some of these Cypher starter decks, and then there's some V-Cross as well. So generally pretty nice to see a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a little poster, and there's some older boxes for Vanguard as well, so that's also quite nice to see because those are very hard to find in English. And then we're kind of here entering the sleeves and deck box section. So there's a lot of rewrite ones, there's some Evangelion ones at the top. And then here we're going to be kind of zooming through mostly just Bushiroad sleeves. There's some like in Logic, and then this is just mostly Vanguard ones, so it's nothing too special, but it's still very nice to see. There's a few Love Life figures there, and here's more Gunpla, and I'm just kind of zooming through all these posable figures, and this kind of stood out a little bit. And then here's a few Build Fighters Try small figs, and here we're entering another one of the card shops, and here we can see their price lists. So all their cards are just like you see, well, in the anime, like just set up on the walls, and so it's very nice because you can see the prices immediately. You can basically browse around first without having to ask anyone. And there's a Laurel for just like 280 yen, so that's like $2 for a Laurel, which is such a good price. And then we're gonna zoom into Lukier here, who's 380 yen, so that's like $3, and that is so cheap. And then there's a promotional Fighters Road. There's the promotional Blaster Blade. I forgot to buy it, and I feel so bad, so I'll try to get it next time. Here's a lot of the Comiket sleeves. So like when you see just limited edition sleeves that they sell in Comiket, like they will be now in winter, so they just kind of sell those to card shops as well, and then they get sold from there. So I did buy some that you'll see in my kind of Japan haul video. Here's Big Magic. So this is actually Big Web's physical store. So if you use Big Web, then this is where a lot of the stuff comes from. And now after we exited Kaikan, here is Card Kingdom after it opened. And sadly, I did not record inside Card Kingdom. So yeah, but it was actually quite small, surprisingly. So here we have like all the arcades here. But yeah, like Card Kingdom was actually a pretty small shop. Like compared to the others, it's super small. And it's much more like, I want to even say European style compared to some of the Japanese stores. So yeah, and here there was a display of a certain anime, and then this is just general, just walking through Akiba, so I did a lot of that. And then here we have the official AmiAmi shop, so the physical AmiAmi shops which we are entering now. There's the Grand Blue Fantasy TCG, and so this shop only opened a few months ago, and I was very happy that I managed to go there. And this is by far the cheapest shop I found for this, you know, like general weeb merchandise. So I bought a lot in the physical AmiAmi shop, and they have a lot of stuff that they don't have online as well. And they also resell figures like that they've purchased from, well, people like kind of just bring in figures they don't want anymore, and they can sell them to AmiAmi, and then they'll just repackage them and, you know, grade them on their condition and resell them. So some of them are really cheap and still in amazing condition, so it's really good shop. I really recommend going here. So there's a lot of Figma here, a lot of Nendoroids, and in general this is kind of the idol section, so there's some Love Life Sunshine and whatnot, and Idol Master. So everything is super cheap, and a lot of stuff you just don't see on their online store as well. So it was very nice to visit this. And then here's a huge display of figures. So they always change this as far as I'm concerned. Well, as far as I know, they always change this. And then here's some front display. So here's some more of the Lucina Figma. Like I said in the other shop, it was super expensive for some reason. I don't really understand why. And then here's some more, not really card game goodies, but rather just kind of collectibles and whatnot. So there was a lot of that here. So this, like, in general, the AmiAmi shop is amazing. So here we got onto the Nendoroid space, so you can see them all kind of lined up. I believe they're actually just lined through their number of release, so it's actually pretty cool. And then here we're going to be going on to one of the parts that I spent the most time in, which is actually this JoJo part. So there's so many JoJo figures here, and boy, like, it was so tempting not to buy so many of them. And then here's some more figures, and here there's a Shimakaze that's super cheap. It's only 3,000 yen, or so, like around 3,000 yen, I think. So it surprised me how cheap it was, because I don't think it was that cheap at the start. And there's some, yeah, we're just kind of jumping through all the mecha stuff here. Sadly, I kind of recorded really fast. So here's more of the card game stuff from AmiAmi. So they have a lot of Crusade, which was nice to see, a lot of Battle Spirits, Buddy Fight, Vanguard, and here's all the playmats and sleeves that we all buy from them all the time. Obviously, their stock that we get from the online store doesn't come from here. They have their own warehouse, but this is just some of the stuff they sell physically. So the newest set that came out when I was here was actually GBT08, so that's why you don't see anything after GBT08 in here. So here's some deck boxes and sleeves, a lot of Love Life Sunshine stuff, and then and then here's some GBT08 stuff and whatnot. So generally quite nice. And then there was some Macross and Gunpla stuff as well. Leaving that, there's a huge Love Life Sunshine poster here. Bear in mind that I recorded this in September, so it was still while Love Life Sunshine was airing, actually. So there's that, and then this is just one of the streets like in Akiba with a little KFC there as well. So like there's a lot of small streets around Akiba as well that you can always explore. And then there's a huge poster for Riko because her birthday was coming up while I was there. And then here's a huge Fire Emblem Cypher poster, and we're coming into my favorite card shop in Japan, which is, I believe it was Cardwall Tower or something like that, but it was so nice. Like, look, I'm just gonna let you look at all these displays so you can see like this huge display just for Fire Emblem Cypher, so it's very nice to see. And then they have like all these kind of like just unique things, and there's some small Vanguard stuff in Eevee iPhone case. And then here we're getting onto some dual masters. There's a figure that's always rotating, some cards. Here's a Buddy Fight display, so that's also really nice to see. And it's all just so nicely put together, and there's a little bit of kind of build fighters going on there. And there's a Sigurd poster from Fire Emblem Cypher. And then here we have all the wedding SPs from the Bermuda set. Look at that, every single one. That's like over $1,000 just sitting there, so that's amazing. We have a Honoka here, just kind of chilling. And then it's just literally card game heaven. So here's some ZX, which I was, it was nice to see, but I feel like it's not as big as it used to be. And then here's some Yu-Gi-Oh, obviously, which is still one of the biggest games in Japan, and it still surpasses Vanguard pretty hard. So, and then here's some Battle Spirits. Yes, it's Battle Spirits, and then there's Angevierge. I'm not sure how you pronounce this one because it's pretty recent, I believe. So in general, a lot of card games, a lot of the more niche ones as well. So it's very nice to see that. And then moving along from that stuff, there's some of the Comiket Fire Emblem stuff here as well, so like the playmat, and then a lot of Fire Emblem stuff, the Grand Blue Fantasy, TCG stuff, V-Cross and whatnot, a lot of the like old magazines and stuff. And here there was a Bushiroad Monthly there that I actually bought, and then there's just Vanguard stuff. Literally, this place is just for Vanguard, so it's quite nice. And now you can see how each floor has its designated card game. So you can see like there's little logos next to each one, and then here we're getting onto the Vice Schwartz, Aikatsu, Vanguard, Dragon Ball Z, Heroes, and something else floor. So each floor has its own card games designated to it, and here we're getting through some of the Vice Schwartz singles that they had, so I just felt like filming that for a bit. But we're getting onto the Vanguard ones pretty soon, so not just yet, but it was very nice to see how like everything is split up by card games on each floor, and it was just very nice to see that. And now we're getting on to the Vanguard stuff. So here you can see Galaxy Blouse for just 200 yen. Like this was released in September. This was recorded in September, you know, back when Galaxy Blouse were still very expensive in English. And then Selling Next Stage, well, in secret form is 5,600 yen, which is about 50 bucks, a bit less maybe. But yeah, so, and this is a lot of the newer stuff from GBTO 8 after it just came out, and then foil triggers and whatnot were there as well, and then you can buy points there as well. So like 2,000 yen gets you 10 points, and then you can exchange them. So that's actually quite nice that they sell those, and I guess they buy them as well. And then so this is just going to be a lot of showcasing of like the Vanguard singles area, because there are just so many of them, and it's very nicely just put together. And like they have a lot of SPs and stuff like that. And then when I didn't mention this, but when I was in Osaka and I went to Sea Labo, they actually sold pre-constructed decks. Like for example, there was a full dimensional robo deck selling for 5,000 yen, which was pretty nice to see. So this is me kind of going up a floor, and there was a Vice symbol, and then that's just there. So yeah, Card World Tower Akiba. And now we exited that store and going to Card World Akiba, so that's a different shop, it's a bit further, but I couldn't actually film in there. And then here's a little Danganronpa 3 poster, and now we're getting onto one of my favorite parts, which is this, which is the Akiba showroom, and this is just in Akihabara Station, so it's very cool to see. So it's a lot of like just figures displayed, in mostly mecha figures, so you can see just, oh, like this is all beautiful. And soon we're going to get onto my favorite part, which is going to be the Gundam and Macross stuff. So there's some Star Wars there as well, so it's all pretty nice to see. There's some Dragon Ball, and you know just stuff like that. So, and now we're getting on to first some actual super robots, and now we have Unicorn in both of its forms, and then some more Gundam stuff. And then getting on here is like the actual, like, it's very nice how they have these little pictures next to, well, the signature Gunpla, and like showing like emotions. I actually quite thought that was a nice little touch. So then there's a goof there and whatnot with Ral, and then here we get onto the Macross Delta part, and boy, you can see like Besser's Valkyrie and Mirages and everything, and it's all just like so beautifully constructed and put on display, and it was so nice to see. Like I came back to look at this quite a couple times, and here's like the Blu-ray and DVD for Macross Delta, and then here's like it's just put together so nicely and so beautifully on display. So like I really loved going through this just to look at everything. And then here, yeah, so these are the other two Valkyries, and it's so beautifully put together, and I spent so much time looking at these, so like I'm even smiling now while we're watching this. So, and then there's more of the miscellaneous stuff, and then we're gonna get onto some of the Aikatsu figures. Then Kantai Collection had a nice little figure show, zoomed in on the Congo, and then there's the, I forgot what anime this was, but I didn't watch it, and this is probably one of my favorite parts of Akiba, which was this huge Macross Delta display. It just had every single product that was selling right now on display, and also from Macross Frontier as well. So they had also like the interchanged Valkyrie in just kind of on display, and then a lot of like shots from the anime as well, and then a trailer was always running in the background, or like songs were running in the background, and then like they just had everything you would want. So it was very, very nice to see. The Macross Delta stuff that I didn't buy from here because I found it cheaper in the AmiAmi shop, but it was very nice to see the display. And here there's some instructions for the actual kits themselves, so it's very, very nice. And I actually bought one of them, and it's been 3 months and I still haven't built it together, but oops. But yeah, so this is the huge Macross Delta display, and here's me actually rolling one of the Gashapons, and on this one I didn't get what I wanted, which is the Mirage one, but on second try, which I didn't record, I actually did manage to get it, so it's been my keychain for like 3 months now. And yeah, so on this one I got the kind of like the meerkat type of thing, so you can kind of see it a little bit there. And then finally, I never really see that many videos of people filming Akihabara during nighttime. So I thought, you know, might as well, like, once we had an evening to burn, like we had nothing else to do, so I was like, why don't we go and like film like how like Akihabara looks at night. So there's like everything basically at night, and like it's all still equally as loud as it was during the day, so it's also quite nice to see. So this is going to be a lot of just like walking around Akiba at night, so I'm going to let you guys just look around because there's not too much for me to say about this. And jumping back in for a little bit, there was a little Mario Kart thing going on here that really surprised us. There were just people in like carts dressed up in Mario costumes riding around Akihabara, so it happened at daytime as well, and so you can see it here. But this is actually the last DF in Japan, so thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one because it is the Akihabara one. I know a lot more people are excited for this than for all the rest basically, so I hope you did enjoy it, especially the few of you that did watch the series, because I did enjoy making it. It's going to be very nice to look back to it after several years. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.